The things I realized is something about you. I want to wait till we get started. Something about you reminds me of fresh laundry.
I'm gonna take that as a compliment because I love fresh laundry.
You always remind me of like a well-groomed man.
I appreciate that.
Is that a random compliment to give somebody?
I don't. No one's ever called me fresh laundry or remind them. I never remind anybody.
No, fresh linen is like my favorite scent when I like buy laundry detergent or room sprays. I just
I
like.
was gonna say they got candles, they got room sprays.
I like
so
fresh
it's a
linen.
great
I
compliment.
like cleanness, and there's something about you that
Yeah.
just feels so clean.
I love
Oh wait,
that.
did we start the show?
We did?
I was waiting for a thumb. Okay, bet.
Boom.
Aaron, can you tell everybody what your full government name is if you are not on the run?
I might be on the run, so I'm just gonna go with the first and the last. My name is Aaron Bernard. I'm so happy to be here.
Aaron, I'm so happy to see you. Okay, now that we've been official, I can just tell you how happy I am to see you. You have not been on the show for like 2 years.
Wow.
I know, it's been 2 years.
Wow.
And the last time I saw you, you were like, oh yeah, we gotta do this again real soon.
Oh, deadass.
And
I
then,
was so serious.
Then like 20 months went by.
Wow.
That's
I mean,
fun.
pandemic doesn't really count. I feel like
It
so much
was
happening.
2022, friend.
That was the end of the pandemic.
Was it?
Yeah, then we had writer strikes and all kinds of strikes.
We did. Did that affect you at all? Because the industry has so many indirect effects on people.
100%. A lot of my clients are entertainers. So with the SAG-AFTRA, the WGA, a lot of my clients are like, hey, I don't know if I could pay for your services. And as a full-time coach, we don't take insurance. So as a result, a lot of my clients are like, hey, I think I got one. Can we do every other week? Can we meet in 3 months? Like, so or when the strike is over. So it definitely affected me as well, which is so
Isn't that
random.
crazy that we live in a society where things that make you right on the inside are considered luxuries that you have to barter with?
Yeah, yeah.
Did y'all hear what Aaron just said? This is the first. I love this. We finally have another guest who uses the word coach. Look at that.
Yay,
Aaron,
can I
tell
touch you?
Aaron, tell them what you do for a living.
So I am what I do for a living currently is I'm a full-time life, family, and executive coach. I have a master's in marriage and family therapy. So I started off in the therapy space, and now I switched over into the coaching space because that fits more of who I am, even though I do believe that both are beneficial.
This is like oysters for me. I'm so aroused by this.
I'm so excited.
Let me explain something to you. I've been catching so many strays because I love humanizing people and having friends on and X, Y, and Z. And yet what gets tricky is because the show is called Humanized, we do have to talk about wellness, about not being toxic, about healthy attachment.
Yeah.
And because people are so comfortable with me and they act like we're in the living room, a couple of times people have watched people who I love argue with me about what's toxic and what's healthy. And I look like the bad guy because I'm the only person. And they're like, yeah, so your way is the only way. I promise you I didn't invent wellness. And so it just feels good after the last couple of episodes to have somebody else who can prove. I'm going to look into the camera. Is this my camera right here? Blue Telusma did not invent psychology. I did not invent therapy. I didn't even invent emotional intelligence. And so it's going to be great just for my own safety to have someone who's not going to fight me on the basics.
No.
How does it feel though? Because you and I have something in common. Is I'm a Gemini rising. You a full-on Gemini.
2 weeks. Well, 13 days. My birthday will be here. May 23rd.
Are you going to be here in LA?
I won't.
Where you going to be?
I'm the best man in my brother's wedding. He's my best friend, my child's best friend. So I'll be on my way to Virginia.
Oh, I get it. I was headed to Bridget's wedding right around my birthday, so I get it.
I saw that. It looked amazing. It looked beautiful.
The videos and the pictures didn't do it justice.
I think you started telling me a little bit in the DM. So
I'm not telling you nothing. Okay, it was a great wedding. Jesus Christ.
No, you just said you had a great time.
I had a wonderful time.
Yeah.
I was so deeply inspired by seeing that many people of color still like each other after marriage.
Wow.
Yeah, I mentioned in my birthday episode about how it just, I love love and I love safety and I love commitment. I don't always get to see all three coexist.
That's powerful.
So seeing people who are in love, committed, and safe.
And safe.
I was like, won't he do it?
Won't he will.
I'm probably going to end up with a husband by the end of the year now. It's contagious.
Because you've seen it, so now you could receive it. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm ready to receive it.
And you're ready to receive it.
Yeah, because sometimes you can see something and not be ready to receive it.
100%.
But you are a full-on Gemini.
Yeah.
Full-on Gemini who's working in the mental health space. Someone like an evil scientist. And I, first of all, want to start off with, because it is about to be Gemini season. I'm a Taurus with a Gemini rising. It's Taurus season, about to turn into Gemini season. So this was like a perfect hybrid.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Gemini of all Geminis as of right now.
Oh, my. I'm nervous.
Oh,
I'm nervous.
wop, wop, wop. Is it the braids?
No, go ahead.
So, Kendrick Lamar.
Oh, okay. Whew. I think I'll say another one.
I was not going to talk about Trump or Kanye.
That's where I thought he was going.
No.
Okay.
Kendrick Lamar has given y'all a moment. People
Yes, he has.
are finally, they still think y'all are crazy, but they're finally understanding crazy smart. Like they're finishing the sentence,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I've always said this, that Geminis, when you're being objective, are considered the most intellectual sign in the zodiac. They're moved by Mercury, who is communication. Yeah.
Learn some stuff about myself.
People think it's Virgos because Virgos are neurotic.
By the way, my mom is a Virgo. She raised me. So
Okay, so we're definitely having dinner after this because we need to talk. I have so much Virgo and Gemini in my chart, and I be fighting them. When people get mad at me, I'm like, it's the Virgo and the Gemini. I promise you I'm a nice person. Kendrick Lamar has made it sexy to be smart again. And you know, as a fellow nerd,
Yeah.
and as a fellow mental health geek, I want to first ask you, what does it feel like when you're in a room of normalized toxic, and so you look crazy? Because they think you made this shit up and it's not universal law.
what is it like? Well,
Like on the inside, not mentally, but like emotionally when you're in the room and you're championing for healthy, but healthy's not normal right now.
yeah. It's very challenging. I think that's the best word I could use. And it's like it's a whole lot of inner dialogue that's happening. It's like, do I say something? Do I not say something? Don't say it, and then I say it.
Ooh.
Because I have to stand up for what's healthy. And I can't allow toxicity to just be in my face. I do, social media wise, I do try to hold back a little bit at times because I want my spaces to be a safe space for people.
Yeah.
And so I have to choose to not like talk about all the toxic stuff on social media. But in person, I'm not gonna let people down women. I'm not gonna let them down black people or anybody that's
Punch down.
beat down. You know what I'm saying? I just don't like that. So it's really hard for me to be quiet. And a lot of times I'll remove myself and I probably won't hang out with people like that if it's a pattern.
Are you neurotypical?
I might, you either are or you are. Some of my friends might say I'm divergent. Cause I have,
I mean, that's honest though.
No,
That's a very honest
yeah,
answer.
I don't know that I'm divergent. And I don't know that I'm typical because I haven't been diagnosed. But essentially, I know I have traits of ADHD. And I know I've been diagnosed with anxiety for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm not on the spectrum in terms of like autism, Asperger's, things like that.
Yeah, and I want people to understand that neurodivergence is not just. I think
umbrella.
Yeah, I think because people think of autism and ADHD are the two loudest kinds. You can be OCD. You can have extreme anxiety, which does rewire your brain, like you know the hemoglobin and all that. We talked about all that stuff, but so it's like one of those things of. First of all, I said hemoglobin. That's not the word I meant. That's hilarious. But the part that I think is interesting is when you're someone who has ADHD or anxiety or anything that people have that are pretty normalized, and you have all this knowledge about what is foundationally correct. Foundationally correct, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not a debate, friend. The sky is not purple right now. It's very blue.
Yeah.
It's hard for me as a neurodivergent person who's been diagnosed sometimes to be like, Blue, just let everybody be wrong and shut the fuck up. Let everybody you love be factually inaccurate and loud and compelling and funny and just smile.
Yeah.
I can't do it, friend.
Yeah.
I can't. Like I catch so many bullets for it, and I recognize I'm experiencing an ego death myself because people think once you reach self-mastery, the ego deaths are done. I'm experiencing an ego death where the part of me that needs people to like me more than to be accurate is dying off.
Wow.
I'm okay with being the bad guy in a way that ages well. Because James Baldwin was like that. James Baldwin was often in a room full of white and black people saying things that we consider deeply fucked up and problematic. And back then, he was the difficult one.
Back then, yeah.
But it aged so beautifully.
Yeah.
And I think my ego's having to make peace with, girl, you're going to have to be a little bit less likable. They're going to call you difficult. They're going to call you aggressive. They're going to call you mean.
Yeah.
5 years from now, they're all going to have to apologize when everybody on TikTok is calling them problematic.
Yeah.
And I realize that I'm doing it in real time and I'm doing it with people that I love and I'm having to kind of like make peace with that. Has that ever happened to you? Because I feel like you're one of the rare people who understands what I'm traversing right now.
Yeah, I would say it has happened to me regarding things like mental health.
Especially mental health.
And wellness. But I've also learned that I have to choose my battles.
Yeah.
And I also have to do this thing with like I do self check-ins, and I'm like, would it be? First of all, I'm asking myself like, how do I feel in this moment? If I'm overly tired or angry or lonely or hungry, is it gonna is what I'm saying gonna age well? Because I might mean well and I might be saying something correctly, but is it gonna be received? And is that gonna be a waste of energy for all of us? So in general, I try to check in with me first. I also try to check with the person that's talking to me. Are we having a healthy dialogue? And in general, if they're open to it, I'm gonna say my 2 cents, but it's not the law. It's just like, let's have a dialogue. This is my perspective. What's yours?
Yeah.
Well, the research that I read says this, but there is also research for other things as well. So I do speak my mind, and I also choose my battles. And sometimes I'm like, yo, I don't have energy for this. I'm going to just let it rock.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm not
it's
at
tricky
work.
when you're doing a show. You can do that at home. When you're on camera, people are like, you're not going to finish the conversation?
Yeah.
You can't be like, all right, I'm going to go home and choose my battles. Time's up. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
What do you do? Because one of the things that I'm recognizing in dating in particular, yes, we're going to talk about dating a little bit, even though we're not going to talk about our real personal lives.
Perfect.
We're not gonna, just assume that Aaron and I are loved and minding
We are
our
loved.
business.
And
We are-
YOB,
We
minding
are
our business.
loved and minding our business. I realize that dating is a tricky place to be mentally healthy.
Well, if you're dating the wrong person,
Ooh.
or you're dating maybe the right person at the wrong time, and people aren't doing the work, it is very challenging. So it's like I tend to ask people like the general, like, do you know what your love language is and or are? Because it's like the top 2. And then I even like my friends or my clients or family members, I'm like, well, do you also know your attachment style? And so like a lot of people don't know their attachment style. They don't know that they're anxious or that they're avoidant or that they're even secure. And so if you're not doing that kind of work, it does make it challenging for me. And so for me, I think I have some bare minimums, and I do
Ooh, what are your bare minimums? Because I did a whole live today about return on investment and how to know when to pivot. What are your bare minimums? I want to hear
emotional
this.
intelligence. And it doesn't have to be.
Then Aaron, you by yourself then. That's the, no offense. It's like 8 of us. I'm just playing. I'm joking. I'm
But-
joking. My entire audience is emotionally intelligent. Please keep the comments. I was
That's
just
what I
joking.
hear.
That's what I hear because you were emotionally intelligent. Go
My
ahead.
thing is, you don't have to fully be emotionally intelligent, but you have to want to learn more and be open to it. So as long as you're open to that and you're trying, I have to recognize grace because I wasn't always there.
Yeah.
Right. So somebody gave me the book Attached, and Attached with ED. And when I read that book, I was like, it blew my mind away. And I was like, oh my God, I have all these degrees. And I was still living in a space of emotional reactivity and unhealthy attachment styles. And so it's like, okay, now you just got the book. I got to wait. You know what I'm saying? But the fact that you're open to it is beautiful to me.
I think that's the key that I've been missing because I actually don't expect people to be emotionally intelligent because I hyper focus on don't learn something on Monday and be judging on Tuesday. I hyper focus on that. I think I'm the other end of the spectrum where I'm like, oh, you don't have to have emotional intelligence. I can do the journey with you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, girl, did he even say he wanted to do the journey? I'm the other extreme. Like, I'm so open to you not having to have it because I have such a surplus.
Yeah.
I'm like, girl, he didn't even ask, and I'm not even sure he wanted. Like, he might like being toxic because it's getting him bitches. Except for you, maybe, but it's getting him all the other bitches. And so I'm realizing that now when I meet men who think, oh, it's cute, what do you do again? And they think something as basic and fundamental as EQ is not. Look at Aaron's face. I've met my biggest turnoff now is when I say something that is like super basic about emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, that's your opinion. That works for you, huh? I'm like, oh no, okay, oh no.
What's more difficult for me?
Like I didn't make up emotional intelligence for. Oh, so I'm not allowed to call you a bitch? No, that's not me. I didn't make that. Like
That's crazy.
No, I'm being extreme, but it's always something like that's such a basic, foundational, healthy thing. And I'll be like, hey, if I'm saying how I feel, you don't get to tell me my feelings are stupid. Well, that's what works for you. No. You probably should not tell anybody that their feelings are stupid.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, well, guess we'll do things your way. And I'm like, no, wow, you're giving me way too much credit.
But that's all you need right there. Well, I guess we'll do things your way is reactivity.
Exactly.
It's a lack of emotional intelligence. It is also a sign that you need to run. So
Okay, I don't mean to.
No, seriously, it's like if people tell you who they are, the great and late Dr. Maya Angelou said, believe the people, right? When they tell you who they are. So I just paraphrase. But like also, so for me, it's like when people tell me who they are, I'm like, thank you. And I'm not judging you.
Of course not.
Because
Discernment is not judgment.
The clockwork for me is like, it's always like clockwork. It's like we're in different spaces. It's the wrong time. And I was getting an apology later on.
Always.
Yeah.
If one more person who tried to make me think I was crazy comes back after they've lost all their money, been humbled by life, left by their next girlfriend who was dumb enough to take their shit that I wouldn't, or just got a therapist, those apologies are always hollow for me. Do you ever feel vindicated? Because I never do. I'm always annoyed. I never feel vindicated by those apologies.
You know, I don't think it depends on the day. Some days I'm like, oh, see? That's just
a little petty cheat meal.
You know, and then other days I'm like, here we go again. So it depends on the day, but I feel both. I definitely feel both because I'm human. And it's just like, but it's also like not just vindication, but it's also like a reminder that I am on the right path and I am doing the work. I'm not perfect.
But you're also not crazy.
And I'm also not crazy. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I know that I'm valid, but sometimes it does help to get it, you know.
I'm just realizing why I'm so happy seeing you today.
Why?
Because I feel like I don't have to bridge a gap.
Yeah.
I will say this, like people don't tell you this. You work so hard to be the best version of yourself. Mm-hmm. You work so hard to be accountable while recognizing you're not above reproach and doing all these things. And then you get to the top of the mountain and see that there's a party happening at the very bottom of the hill.
It's lonely.
It can be. It's like, y'all not, mind you, it's so much nicer up here.
Healthy up there.
It's healthy. The
Peaceful.
Air is clean. I sleep well. I don't be crying doing like for fuck shit that I need to apologize for. Like life is so amazing up here.
Yeah.
But it's like getting your dream house in a neighborhood where none of your friends live. And so I'm in this interesting season of where I'm realizing that people like you, who I'm like, oh, you invested in this too. Where did you get your property at? Have you gotten that? Because I will say that I have a tribe right now. Mm-hmm. This is the most emotional, intelligent tribe I've ever had.
I'm a snap.
Shout out to all of y'all.
We love them.
I don't have a single person I call friend who I don't feel loved and safe around.
I would say I'm not fully there, but I'm there more now than ever.
I appreciate the gap. I mean, the gasp. You were like,
because I got to be careful.
You were like, don't lie on camera.
No, I'm not a liar, but
no, I appreciate that you checked yourself.
I want to be as authentic as possible and mindful because I don't want to ever insult the people who are emotionally intelligent and or trying and or growing, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, I think right now I'm in the best space, friendship wise, that I've been probably ever.
I love
and I
that.
would say like I could be like so emo right now, but I'm so humbled by them, and they also teach me because of what's the word? Like doing some of the work is very lonely. Mm-hmm. And so you lose friends along the way because you're no longer in alignment. And so you're like, damn, it is a void. I've cried over friendships that I lost. I thought they were going to be my forever people, my family, my tribe. And then there's a void, but I was like, yo, I have to be intentional of filling that hole, that emotional hole up with someone that is of like spirit, like minds and goals and things of that nature. And it's awesome. And then they were also teaching me to be more vulnerable, to be more open to conversations and things of that nature. So I'm so grateful because I also, because of the past traumas, I don't know how to ask for help that well. Mm-hmm. But now because they're seeing me fully from emotional things to my other stuff, they create so much awesome space for me to ask for help, to have certain conversations that I love having. So I'm also grateful. And some of my friends, I'm giving them grace. I feel like they want it and they're almost there.
This is so powerful because I feel like when I told everybody I was doing programming around Mental Health Awareness Month, focusing on Black men in particular, people knew that I was going to be talking to Black men who didn't believe in therapy. People knew I was going to be talking to Black men who need therapy. Yeah. They believe, they just need it. I don't think people were ready for me to have a conversation with a Black man like you.
Oh, wow.
Who actually bought in, is benefiting, and who is saying, no, it's not all gravy. Sometimes it's lonely. Sometimes you're sad. Sometimes you're like, oh, I'm full of shit. And yet you kept at it. And I think even for me, it's healing to be reminded that people like you exist.
Let me tell you, life is, can I curse? Mm-hmm. Life is fucking amazing. And it's also fucking trash. And sometimes I don't know which one it is, but I'm just so grateful for my friends that are there for the extreme highs and extreme lows. And I think no one's exempt from these amazing days and these amazing blessings. And as well, no one's exempt from these very emotionally taxing days. Mm-hmm. And to have friends and family that you can emotionally be transparent with is one of the best things ever. And a part of me getting them is me having to do my own work. Mm-hmm. It's forgiving myself. It's giving the grace. It's learning that I'm still a work in progress and understanding like, yo, if you could see that thing, like I now I see differently because of the work. that's been done. And so I'm able to track differently. And I'm super excited to be in the space that I'm in. I think life is still crazy. Grief happens. When you're in entrepreneurship, you deal with all the highs and the lows and the things that you don't want to do, as well as the parts that you love. And my friends make me, for sure, I mean, I choose to be better, but my friends definitely make me better. And
you mentioned entrepreneurship, and one of the number one reasons that Black men that I meet professionally and personally give us an excuse not to work on their mental health is I need to get some paper first. You talking about me working on my emotions. I need to get this paper. I need to get this money. Money, right? And like, I'm not stupid, and also I'm bougie. Like, I like money too, y'all. Nobody said
you need it. You need it,
right? I live in Los Angeles, fucking California.
Come on.
Nobody said I didn't like and or need money.
Yeah.
What do you say to Black men who think that their mental health and well-being is a far distant cry from them getting this coin so they can flex on the gram?
I would say I understand why they say it. And I also want to say that some of that is based in trauma. And,
we're going there, huh?
And fear.
Okay, he's coming for y'all.
No, it's true.
Keep it up, Buck. Speak about the trauma.
But a lot of us are like the trauma. Like, I mean, and everyone has a story. I was homeless. I literally was like homeless, couch surfing. It was a nice homeless, so to speak. I was on the street.
He was homeless in the hills.
I mean, thank God I knew people. You know, I'm like, can I sleep on your couch? And I would leave early in the morning and get home late at night so that I wouldn't be in their way. And so it wasn't long, but I would ask people to stay at their houses for free. And I think like for a while, even when I did quote unquote have levels of success, I was still operating from trauma, and I was operating from the fear of going back versus understanding that I'm not there anymore. You know, but therapy helped me to understand that like I'm operating from trauma and lack versus abundance. And so like when you understand that you're operating from one lens and there could be another lens that you're operating from, it shifts how you see things. It shifts the decisions that you make in every aspect, from dating to friendship to when you wake up to going to the gym to not going to the gym. So I would say to anybody that's operating like that, like, are you operating from trauma and fear? And is there a possibility that you could start operating from another lens, which is more hope and excitement and understanding that like therapy. I just had as you know, I just had a mental health panel.
Yes.
And
by the way, can we please shout out the What the Wellness, because I would have shown up if I was not on my deathbed this week.
I know, but you look good. You don't look like what you've been through.
Amen. I really want to be a part of one of them because I'm so obsessed.
Mind already. I already have you in mind.
I'm so obsessed with what you're doing. Really?
Dead ass. I'm sorry. Yes.
We're gonna definitely have Aaron back when we do What the Wellness, because you guys, if you're in the Los Angeles area, you have to come and see the work that he's doing.
I think it'd be a lot of fun. But one of the people on the panel, his name is Samo. He's an amazing singer. He was like, what I was able to accomplish in 3 months, I know by myself would have taken 3 years. And I think he summed up what so many of us are doing by ourselves. But the truth is, I read this book called Never Eat Alone, and it just talks about like nothing exists in isolation. Like we need each other, we need community to get things done. And so thankfully, therapy and coaching, they give you a non-bias and a very objective perspective, and they ask you questions. A really good coach or therapist will ask you questions to get you out of your way to get through the problems and quicker and in a healthy way. Not like you're rushing through, but like there's a lot of healing that takes place. And so when you let that load go, you have so much more space to create, so much more space to come up with new ideas, and you function in such a healthy way, even with your communication with your staff, with people that you hire, you're speaking from healthy. Then they feel that healthy and that excitement about you. Now they want to work hard, if not harder than you.
You know what often sounds like healthy but isn't?
What?
People pleasing. Because I know so many toxic people who are very pleasant. And so they think because optically they might sound like you, that they are you. And the analogy that I used in one of the previous shows was the bucket versus the plumber. Mm-hmm. If you have a leak and you put a bucket there, the bucket is catching the leak. It's being efficient. It's not a plumber. It's not fixing the actual problem.
Yeah.
It's a short-term solution.
Until
you get a plumber, it's just a bucket.
Yeah.
There's a lot of niggas with buckets thinking they're plumbers.
Well, I'm a recovering people pleaser.
Really?
Absolutely. I think that's one of my Achilles heels or vices or whatever you want to call it.
You are very pleasant and agreeable.
Well,
but I feel like you would still call bullshit though.
I'm from Brooklyn. I would still say what it is, but I try to do it with love. And I think part of it is like it's like I love what church, the positive parts of church, but I think my religion kind of helped, and my mother helped me to become this way. Just say yes to everything. And I'm like, but I don't want to. I don't feel good. Like, so now I'm asking myself, like, what does my central nervous system need right now? And so I'm no longer people pleasing like I used to. I mean, maybe 10% of the times. if that much.
Oh, that's good bacteria.
Yeah, but I used to like be like 100, like yes. That's why I was at every event, every birthday, anything that anybody had, because I wanted to make sure everybody felt good.
But then you get
well.
burnt out. I think part of why I got sick is because I spent 4 months putting everybody first. And when I got sick, I was forced to be selfish because I had to heal myself this week. And I was like, isn't that a little bit of a prophetic little, I say, what you doing, God?
Your body will tell you too.
Oh, my body said, girl, sit. Okay, you're not going to sit? Then lay.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't sit and made me lay. I'm going to ask you a provocative question. And you've been a fuckboy ever? Have you ever been a fuckboy? Past tense, so nobody can like tell the truth. They know about my whole phase.
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
I don't know that I've ever been a fuck boy.
Have you ever had dubious integrity in your romantic relationships?
I've never cheated.
Well, that's the technicality. That's a fuckboy answer. I've never cheated because I had to commit to cheat.
I never cheated. But I will say, I think sometimes I've wanted to be. Because kind of like when you gave that analogy of like being on the top of the hill looking down, I'm like, everybody is having so much fun. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's living their best lives. And I think I've wanted to be. I think there are moments that I might have been very single acting, but I don't know that I was necessarily.
Okay, when a man said, I'm very single acting,
I don't know that
he
I was
outside.
But I was never a fuckboy. What's your definition of that, to be clear?
To me, a fuckboy is someone who, through charm and cleverness, lives a life where they only serve their own pleasures while being reckless towards the feelings of others.
I would say 99% of the times, no. I haven't been a fuckboy. I think by accident here and there, like, oh shit, Aaron, that was out of character. But like, my grandpa's been, rest in peace, he's always said like, your name is all that you have. And so even when I was homeless, I knew that I had my name. And my name is what got me to stay at people's houses for free until I was able to get back on my feet.
Because your integrity was a currency.
Jobs came to me because of my name. I never sought out, and this is not a brag, but I've never sought out like television opportunities. They all came to me.
They sure have.
But like, I've been nervous. I was scared, and they're like, come be on, Discovery Plus or OWN TV or this, that. I never sought it out. But it was like, your name is all you got. So I really try not to be a fuckboy or somebody that acts out of, and I'm not perfect. I do fuck shit by accident, but I'm not a fuck boy. It's not an active thing.
You know what I love about what you said though? Because most fuckboys, instead of internalizing that, hey, I'm moving dishonorably and it is smearing my name, instead the most famous lie that all fuckboys that I love and care about but have dismissed because mother's getting older, I'm misunderstood, people be lying on me. Everybody though? Everybody lied on you? Everybody lied on you. But how come when I asked you what happened, you told me the same story she did? That's not a lie, friend. And so a lot of people who are fuckboys convince themselves that they're just chronically misunderstood by every person they've ever been with.
You know what's crazy about being a fuckboy?
I don't mean to laugh, but you hear how ridiculous that sounds, right?
I feel like also, just if I could add a comment to that, I also feel like if you just tell the truth, people really respect that in a weird sort of way.
Oh my God, you have no idea.
I'll say I don't want to be in a relationship, and then here you are trying to make me get in one. And I just said no. So now it's on you. Respectfully, disrespectfully, I don't know, whatever you want to be. But like, I feel like if you're just honest, it's like, at least you were honest. You know what I'm saying? And so you
honest through actions and words. Because people will say, I don't want to be in a relationship, and then act like your man 364 days of the year.
I know that's also very confusing. And
No,
very
that's manipulative.
No, it is. But I also feel like if we have an understanding, like you and I are gonna be cuddle buddies, right? It's called cuddle for a reason, right? So if I sleep over and hang out, and I'm like
every night.
I also like food. I'm like, I'm gonna bring some food over.
Aaron, okay, your fuckboy's coming out. We cuddle buddies. I'm gonna bring you food every night for 360.
Not every night, but I
5 days a week we go together.
But if you're clear about the understanding of what it is that making you a fuckboy?
Well, this is where gender might come in, because I have some nuance, even for Aaron.
Come on, I'm a student forever.
The one thing that I have had to cultivate because of my male clients very specifically, even the ones that were highly emotionally intelligent, it's some man shit. Like, I do think that any privilege has a handicap built into it.
For sure.
Because it makes you unaware of the luxuries that you have of not having to know certain things, right? And so what I had to tell people, particularly men or masculine identified humans, we want to be inclusive, who is drunk and who is sober? Because if someone's drunk off your love and you are sober and telling the literal truth, in the same way that if you saw your friend at a party and you said, are you good enough to drive? And they're slurring their words saying, I'm good enough to drive. I can drive home.
It's a great analogy.
But everything else they're doing says, I'm clearly not fucking okay to drive home. Are you going to say, technically, he said he was fine, so I'm going to let him drive home? Are you going to say, friend, I know you believe that, but that's not the truth based on everything but your word? Let me take these keys from you. And so I say, not as somebody who's a mental health professional, but as an EQ coach, which is such a nuanced perspective, because my clients that are the hardest are actually therapists. They're like, oh shit, there's a trap door underneath the shit that I already learned.
Yeah.
Is that if you are sober and they are drunk, I need you to move with the same integrity as someone who is sober talking to a drunk person.
100%.
So even if you're technically saying, I don't mind being a cuddle buddy, if I am drunk off your love and acting like I want you to be my man by next Tuesday, I need to take the keys from you.
And I would say, I agree.
I appreciate that.
No, I agree. I do.
Because there's a compassion in not just being technical.
And I think that's also why it's important to have follow-up conversations.
Yeah.
You don't have one and done combos. I'll say like, hey, this is feeling a little muddy. Or I'll find like little words I've learned in my profession to, tricky. I'll
tricky
say,
I got from you. I've been using
that's my word.
Like, it's a little tricky, friend.
I'll say, this is a little tricky for me. And they'll be like, why? And I'll explain why. But I think it just boils down to like, for me, I like to have constant communication, not like overbearing, but like just follow-up convos.
Yeah.
So that we're on the same page. And then you got to listen to what it is. And like I said, my name is all I have. Mm-hmm. So it's like at the end of the day, I could have $1 million or $0, but my name is going to be rich. And so I want to make sure that I operate as such. It doesn't mean that I'm perfect. It means that I just do my best to honor what I'm feeling and my intuition and awareness.
So if we were cuddle buddies and you said we cuddle buddies, I agree. But on the 17th day of you coming over with food, you're like, I think Blue might be catching feelings. How would you show integrity in that moment? Because I think there's a lot of men or women who are under captivity who are going to be listening.
Captivity is hilarious.
Women and men who are under captivity who are going to be listening to this episode and being like, well, what's the answer then? Because if they technically are telling me I can do this, then what would you say the moment you realize that the person is drunk off your love and not being honest about that?
All right,
that
Beyonce.
agreement?
I feel like the moment I specifically realized, because this has happened to all of us, right?
Absolutely.
I've been on both sides. So when I'm on the side of recognizing that that drunken love energy, I sometimes will back up a little bit more. I'll have a conversation and I'll say like, ideally, this is what I would like to do. Ideally, but I've done it too. I'll be like, hey, I think I'm gonna be. Let's hang out next week. Versus for the rest of the week. Let's hang out in a week. Let's hang out. Hey, I need to take some time off. And then, of course, you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, so that's where it gets hard for me.
Do you state that you drunk?
I don't state drunk in love, but I will state like I'm not in that space. I'll say where I am, and I'll ask where you are, so you can state it. But I'll stay where I'm at. And
what happens if they continue to apply pressure even as you create distance?
The good old saying says that actions speak louder than words. I will make my actions speak louder than my words.
You're not going to call it? You're not going to cut? You're going to keep pretending?
I'm not going to keep pretending. I'm going to not be as available. Yeah.
I think my answer is probably a little bit less patient. I'm like, hey, you moving like you really like me.
I like to be more sensitive.
No.
That's a people pleaser and me kicking in.
It is a people pleaser and you're very much kicking in. Because my thing is, there's nothing wrong with moving like you like someone, right? And so I would, because I've been in this position and I said, hey, you're moving like you really like me. And you deserve me to be able to give that back to you, and I still don't have it.
I love that latter part for sure.
Yeah, I finished the sentence. Like, you deserve me to give that back. I still ain't got it.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't know when I'm going to have it.
I literally said a couple days ago, let's table this conversation, because right now it's not working for me because I'm not in that space to give you what you're asking for.
Yeah.
So I am direct, but I try to be gentle. I try to, LOL it in real life, like a little ha ha ha,
okay.
To lighten the blow.
I'm picking up that you digmatize people because people are like, oh, he laughing, he'll be back. Like,
I'm a virgin, born again.
Oh my God.
Just kidding.
How do you feel about dating? Because sometimes people get to a place where they're like, I am so healed and exhausted. I'm going to just get me a cat. And sometimes people are like, no, let's see if there's others. Like, are you in a space now where you're open to a relationship or are you on taking a hiatus?
I'm a combination. I'm never going to say no to something healthy. And if it's healthy, it's for me. That's mine. That's my blessing.
That might be my new T-shirt. If it's healthy, it's for me.
Yeah, if it's healthy, it's for me. But at the same time, right now, I'm not looking for anything. What I'm looking for is a person named Benjamin Franklin. I'm trying to make this money. I'm trying to grow my brands. I'm trying to heal people. I'm trying to live in my purpose. I think there's so many times I've given to other people, whether it be friendships or dating, and I'm like, yo, I look back and I didn't really get to give to me or my purpose or what I think I might be here for on this planet. So I'm in the space of giving that energy. And if you're going to come disrupt that, it needs to be peaceful and supportive.
Yeah.
And if it's not any of those two things, I can't be there.
You know, it's so interesting that, like, whenever I have a breakup, up until recently, because I've gotten better. I've gotten so much better. Shout out to healing.
Come on, better.
I took a year off from dating. It cleansed my palate like a motherfucker. Shout out to that year off. Everything tastes different after a fast.
Yeah.
Everything tastes different. I'm calling bullshit left and right. Like, oh, nope. Ooh, maybe yes.
What do you think it was that made you?
Someone played in my face so hard that I recognized there was a moment where I was like, do I need to go to jail? Because I might. when I realized.
I'm so glad you're not in jail.
No, because I was like, you're playing in my face in a way that if I did something illegal, the judge would be on my side.
Damn.
Right? And I was like, I've allowed somebody to move in a way where I could commit a crime and I might get away with it.
Damn.
How'd you get this close? I might need to check in with self.
Yeah.
Because the security cameras clearly are broken right now. So somebody played in my face that was so fucked up, and I knew it was bad when I was explaining it to my makeup artist. She got angry and started brushing my face extra hard. I was like, bitch, are you okay?
She was triggered.
I couldn't tell nobody the story without them getting highly upset. I was like, oh, so I'm underreacting.
Can I just say something? It's always interesting with the people that are teaching emotional intelligence or the coaches. We end up in these spaces and they somehow catch our blind spots.
We overextend grace.
Slip through the cracks. And that's just so crazy. And
they've done studies on that because you know a bitch loves to study.
Tell me to study.
They've said that they've realized that the reason why so many people who do this work attract narcissistic behavior is because compassion is our default. And what do people need as a narcissistic supply? Compassion.
Yeah.
So it's almost like if you are someone who's addicted to opioids and you know somebody who's a doctor who has a key to the pharmacy. Yeah. That's exactly who you're going to aim at. The person who has a surplus of the thing that I need and who gives it the most readily, I'm going to figure out their pain points and manipulate it so I can get their supply.
And I would say because of if you believe in your purpose and your passion, like, oh, it's to help people, that's also tricky because, you know, extreme anything is not healthy. So for me, I'm making sure as much as I can at this moment in terms of moving forward that my heart is working with my brain, that they're like holding hands.
They're homies.
That they're friends, they're homies. Shit, they could be lovers at this point. As long as they're working together, they can have a side thing. I don't care.
I'm imagining your heart tongue kissing your brain.
Listen, Mayday tongue kiss and do it well. As long as you keep me safe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think, so for me, it's like I'm allowing myself now to not be that person anymore because I want to make sure I see the signs. And there's nothing wrong with compassion. There's something wrong with over compassion to the point where you're blinded because of compassion. So
there's a name for that. When you overextend compassion?
Yeah.
Lack of boundaries. There's no such thing as being.
I was just gonna give me another name, but yes, boundaries.
It's so simple. Whenever people be like, "Oh, I'm just too nice. I'm too compassionate." No such thing. You're not Jesus Christ. You just like boundaries.
My boundaries is popping.
If you have boundaries, you could be as nice as hell. You'd be fine.
Yeah.
It's because you ain't got no goddamn boundaries, or you're not enforcing them. You know what? I mentioned this.
And they feel good. If I could just say, boundaries don't feel good at first, but when you start learning how to use them and you learn what they are doing to you, it feels so good. And every time you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to something else. So to me, it's important that I say yes to me.
Yeah.
It's important that I'm saying yes to peace, because every time I say no to my boundaries, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Every time I say yes to you and have lack of boundaries, I'm saying no to my peace.
Mm-hmm. And the thing that I really am sad about how the word peace has been co-opted by people who say that they are looking for peace, when in reality they're looking to be absolved of circumstances of their poor decisions. Like, so there's a difference between peace versus avoidance.
So I'm not talking about avoidance.
No, I know that you're not. I know for a fact that
anybody questioning, I just want to be clear.
No, because people are gonna watch you like, this black man is teaching me how to lie, and so I
want
not you, but I'm saying
but no to them.
A lot of people weaponize this therapy speak. That's why we're in a tricky, to your word, we're in a tricky spot where we're having these great open-hearted conversations, and then I'm like, oh no, y'all read it backwards, and so I just want to point out that if someone is holding you accountable for poor decisions,
can I clap?
That is not them robbing you of your peace.
So once again, I'm not plugging my panel, but you were there at a few of them, I believe.
Yeah.
One of them particularly, you had asked the question. Everybody was talking.
Oh yeah, I thought they were never going to invite me back. I'm so sorry.
I love the question. I still talk about it to this day. It was with Shalea. Brian was on a panel, my colleague, which therapist friend it was. But real quickly, you said everyone keeps talking about giving boundaries, but how do you receive them? And that was so beautiful. And the response someone gave, I think it was Shalea, she said, the challenging part is that, we all want to be unofficially and or officially the victim in a story. But the truth is, when you realize that you can be a victim on a story and you also can be the villain in another, you start to lend grace. And she said, she talked about like allowing yourself to understand, like, am I the victim or the villain in the story to this person, not just myself, but to someone else. And so now I think because of that question, I think about that all the time. I use it all the time. And I remind my clients, like, you could be the victim and or the villain in different stories.
I love that.
So I thank you for that question.
I feel so much better because I felt like such a disruptor because the entire room gasped and I was like, oh no, shit, did I do it again?
people can't handle certain things sometimes, but it was also like, oh shit, she done went there. It was like, because it was everybody's like, set the boundary, and you're like, well, how do you receive the boundary? And I just thought it was so beautiful. And then so that was one of my favorite moments. And then can I say one more thing? Shalea then said I
love Shalea, by the way. She was a great panelist.
And I wanted her to sing, but I was so caught up in what she was saying, I forgot. But she also said that her husband took her to, a butterfly garden. And she was saying that she loves butterflies. She's like, I love butterflies. And she said, and she's looking around all these beautiful butterflies. She saw one butterfly on the floor. And she said the butterfly wasn't flying. She's like, butterfly expert. She said, the butterfly is not flying. Will this butterfly ever be able to fly again? And so he was like, the butterfly expert looked at the butterfly and he said, oh, don't worry about that butterfly. He said, butterflies only need 40% of their wing capacity to fly. And she said her takeaway was that wounded butterflies still fly. And so a lot of us don't want to be, okay? A lot of us don't want to be wounded. We don't want to look bad. But the truth is, we're all a little wounded and you can still fly. And if somebody's telling you about yourself, take it in. It doesn't mean you can't fly anymore. You're just a little bit of wounded butterfly. There's some healing to be done and it's okay. But all of that came from your question. So I just want to say villain, victim, wounded butterfly still fly, all because of your question.
And I carried... This is so wild because I walked away like, Blue, you were a disruptor again. Everybody was all kumbaya, and here you come with your provocative ass questions. It's so wild how
sexy question.
Well, I like
it was a healthy question.
I know. I think, and I thank you for that. I actually needed that because I sometimes am annoyed with myself for being that person in the room. Yeah. I'm like, girl, if you don't shut the hell up. And so I think a part of me is always just looking for the balance.
Yeah.
And I'm so, in my mind, the balance serves us all.
Yeah.
And it's very community focused.
Yeah.
But folks who don't know my heart can easily think I'm trying to make it about me being a contrarian or me X, Y, and Z. I'm not being the devil's advocate. The devil doesn't need an advocate. I just want equilibrium.
What's so interesting is that, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And the way you said it, it felt compassionate. It was
sincere.
It was sincere. It felt love-filled. And it felt curious. And it felt like, I want to hear what you guys got to say about that. And it's like, a lot of us do try to set boundaries, and a lot of us also don't know how to receive boundaries and or accept them. So thank you for asking. I think the terminology the terminology I like to use is the saboteur, that little negative chitter chatter in our minds, will lie to us. And so for so many months, if not a year now, it's been lying to you and making you feel like you sabotaged something, but you didn't.
I know.
I literally, I have no tattoos, but I know I have a list of tattoos that I want. And I just added a butterfly. I was like, how do I make a butterfly look cool on me? Because I felt like a wounded butterfly. And I was like, yo, I'm still going to fly.
You want to hear something wild?
What's up?
That's where I got the name Blue from butterflies.
What?
Because growing up, I was obsessed with blue butterflies. And people couldn't say my government name because it's so extra Cuban.
I said it this morning today. I was like, I was trying to work on the
Maria Manuela.
Yes.
People couldn't say my full government name, and I used to have butterflies in my cubicle at my after school job and on AOL. This is how old we are. On AOL, my screen name was Blue Butter, and people didn't want to call me Emanuela at work, and people didn't want to say Blue Butter online. And so one day I called my best friend crying, like, everybody keeps calling me Blue. And he was like, well, Emanuela's been through a lot. Maybe it's time to give Blue a chance. So I got my name because of my obsession with blue butterflies. And so that's just wild to me.
I'm a snap.
You see how kismet that is?
Yeah.
Let me tell you, this is what happens when you're with somebody in the room who's equally yoked. And I will say this, abundant people, because we recognize that we are smelling and sniffing on rarefied air, we make peace that love doesn't always have to exist at the top of the mountain, that fellowship doesn't have to always exist at the top of the mountain, because we recognize that different parts of the mountain have value, and not but, because but negates,
And come on, and
it's still nice to find your people at the top of the mountain.
period. Yo,
It's just nice sometimes.
100%. I feel like that's why I'm so grateful once again with my friends. Like they're so supportive in so many different ways. Sometimes they just pick up and do things for me. I guess, acts of service is becoming one of my love languages. But
I mean, you probably needed it.
yeah. But I would also say like I love that some of them are on the way up the ladder or the stairs or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying?
And it's nice to cheerlead them.
Cheerlead them. We cheerlead each other. We support each other. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, don't just help me. How can I help you? That's my constant conversation is like, how can I also help you?
What is your love language to give versus your one to receive? Because they're not always the same.
Quality time is my favorite love language to receive. And I also naturally kind of give it because I think time is the one thing that you don't get back. A lot of times when you listen to rich, quote unquote, rich, wealthy people, the one thing they have a lack of is time. And they're always trying to get more of it. So if I'm giving you my time, it's because I love you. It's not because I'm a people pleaser anymore. It's because I actually want you to have something that's very valuable to me.
That's so beautiful. I used to have quality time as my love language.
Uh-oh, what is it?
I can't anymore.
What is it?
The reason why I can't do quality time anymore is because I realized the quality was only coming from me, not to me. And so people were using quality time as an excuse to basically plug in and fill up and then leave. And so if I'm serving love, please don't come with a to-go plate. You know what I mean? So I love quality time naturally. It's just that it's betrayed me one too many times. I'm like, are you just coming here to love upon me and get some sex and a plate? So my new love language is actually a hybrid
Of?
words of affirmation. And
I was going to say that next.
words of affirmation and physical touch. I'm a little nasty.
A little sexy.
No, you know what I realized? It's because for my nervous system. It's not even sexual. People always think it's
I made
sexual.
the sound.
It's fine. No, it's just like there's something about my nervous system where people communicate through touch so much.
Yeah.
And sometimes if somebody doesn't have the right words, but they're very loving in their touch, my body immediately receives it.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a cheat code.
Yeah.
And there have been times where people have lied to me, and when they hugged me goodbye, I was like, oh, he's going somewhere after this. So I can actually pick up, and people always look so stunned when I mention it. I've actually picked up on a lie.
I can see that though.
Yeah, because there's a way that your heart beats, and there's a way that your arms embrace when you really care about someone and you miss them, versus when you're politely checking something off the list to be cordial. I instinctively can, I feel like real primitive sometimes, like one of them dogs that can sniff the air. I can smell that he loves me. So I think there's something about physical touch and words of affirmation that to me, if I'm worried about quality time, even though that's my default naturally, those two will always tell me bullshit.
I would say, so my second love language.
Oh, you have a second one? Okay, hit it.
Well, the first is, I took the test a few times.
So you have the ranking of the five.
Yeah, it's the same shit every time. Just about at least the first two. It's always quality time and then words of affirmation.
Oh, I love that.
I believe words are powerful. Life and death lie in the power of the tongue. So it's like I love to uplift people through words, and it also doesn't take as much time. And then I always speak from the heart when I'm speaking. So it's like I'm giving, and people are like, oh, thank you so much. And then when I hear it back, sometimes I'm shook. I'm like, whoa. So I love to receive it. And so if I don't have a lot of time, I'll say, hey, grandma. Because I love talking to my grandma and my mom. And I'm like, Grandma, I only have, and I know that I only have 15. So I'm like, Grandma, I only got 10 minutes. And I leave a little wiggle room for extra. I need you to know that I love you so much. And
oh my God, Aaron! People don't think you're fake. They're like blue paid an actor to show up as an emotionally intelligent black man.
Hold
Aaron,
on,
you're a real person.
That's their toxicity or unhealed side or their lack of experience. Has nothing to do with me.
Yeah,
I love my grandma. Ain't nobody gonna tell me nothing. So I'll be like, Grandma, I love you. She's like, I love you more. Like, no, I love you more, and we'll go back and forth on who loves who more and why we love each other. And I do the same thing with my mother, my siblings, because time once again is so precious, and I'm not gonna have anybody guessing about how I feel about them.
Who taught you that, black man?
Life. That motherfucker's hard. And so I have a few friends that passed away, and I never got to tell them how I felt. So I think, you got to make some lemonades out these freaking damn lemons and limes and all these fucking sour ass fruit. So life taught me like you got to let people know you love them.
Yeah. It's so interesting because I keep on joking about how I've only been emotionally available for a relationship for 3 weeks now. It's been a long 3 weeks. What? I'm being honest. People were like, wait, it's been 3 weeks since the wedding, basically.
Yeah.
And one of the things I realized, and I think I said this earlier, about how I knew I was ready when I was okay with losing people. Like, people who want a relationship by any means necessary
Yeah.
are the very ones who are not ready for a relationship. Because a part of a healthy relationship is knowing this only makes sense if it makes sense.
For sure.
Not by any means necessary. I will love you and still leave your ass if you become unsafe and are not willing to put an honest effort, right? And so I was like, oh my God, if I met the amazing person who treated me like shit, I would leave his ass. I think I'm ready.
I love that.
That's a wild place to be in, but it's new.
I don't want to lose people, and at the same time, I'm not afraid to lose people.
That part.
So I don't want to lose you.
Of course not.
But I also understand I might need to. And I also understand that, like, life is a journey. Sometimes, and also, caveat, we all going through so much stuff. I'm like, yo, maybe you just need a break. We might come back in the future, you know? So
You are that's such a man answer. Look, I don't have X to worry about fertilizing. You go off and we'll see if when I'm 60, I'll still be...
Well, not such extreme, but like
I know, but men have that luxury.
Yeah.
A woman hits 35, she's like, shit, I got 3 eggs left.
Well, I also feel like, you know,
If it's not you, it's gonna be somebody else in 5 minutes.
well, I once again go back to that book, Attached and Understanding Attachment Styles. My baseline was rooted in anxiety, and so the secure me is like, all right, well, it's not meant to be, but it's not from an avoidance space.
Yeah.
It's like, let's talk about it and let's be grounded in it. So that there's a difference. It's not like player from the Himalaya. Maybe it's to say that back in the day, but it's more so like from I'm hoping it's from a healthy space. So I took the test several times. It says that I'm secure because I want to be.
Yeah, I'm
grounded.
secure too, but I'm a spicy secure.
You know,
I'm making inappropriate jokes in the middle of my security.
I think jokes are good though.
Look, I
Jokes
don't
are
know any.
amazing.
My mother giggles and she's in her 70s. Like, she's unserious. Like, there's
I
no
love
hope
that.
for me. Like, I've seen into my future. This still unserious.
100%.
I'm not gonna grow out of this.
My my grandma, she's laughing now. All
How old
90,
is she?
90.
Wow.
Her birthday is March 4th. The only day it tells you to do something. But her birthday 3/4/34.
Oh.
So we like, that's my girl. So, but yeah, she be laughing. We be laughing. We talk for an hour and a half. We be chopping it up.
I asked her. All my mother's friends are dead. All her friends are dead. I probably need to segue. Sorry. I'm gonna blame the neurodivergence on this. No,
Sorry,
in my
Mom.
mind that was a segue. But I was talking to my mom. I was like, Mom, all your friends are dead. How does that feel? She looked at me the way you did.
Now that might be the neurodivergent part of you. That's just like, damn.
Okay.
Then she was like, damn, Blue. But she ain't new to you. She ain't new to this.
Another thing is she's neurodivergent too.
So she got, if you got her.
Yeah, she looked at me like, bitch, you always asking these rude ass questions. I'm like, bitch, you rude too.
That's funny.
Yeah, we're both neurodivergent as hell, but she's not diagnosed, but I'm very clear where I got this from.
Yeah.
I'm my mother's child. I said, Mom, like, all your friends are dead. Like, okay. No, stop making me laugh.
Sorry. First of all, she's already stressed the fuck out. And you just added, a little salt to that fucking
No,
injury.
I was curious. Like if all my homies were dead, I would want to talk about it.
Ooh.
So I said, Mom, you're so fun. It's your face. I'm not gonna let your
Sorry,
face.
I was like, where's my shades at?
So I said, no, don't be Kumo D.
You said.
So I said, Mom, all your friends have passed. Like, how does that feel? Why do you think you're still here? Like, what's going on?
Why are you still, what the fuck? Blue.
Aaron, I promise.
Now, why are you still here?
No, I wanted to hear her theory about how she outlived all her friends. And her answer was, she was like, I was the fun one.
Oh, wow.
She said, I was always laughing. Clearly, I'm going to live to be 100. She was like, I'm always laughing. I'm always having a good time. I think that's the reason why
I'm screaming that you're crying right now.
Can I get a tissue? I am laughing so hard. I'm gonna live to be 100 because I realized that no matter what happens, my life.
You know what? Can I say?
I didn't realize how rude that question was until I saw your face. I was like, yo, I'm autistic as shit, y'all. At least y'all understand. No, I think a lot of times when you're high functioning,
Yeah.
people don't realize until you ask questions like that. They're like, oh.
Well, because I
The
can only
baby's
imagine
different.
how she felt. But I'll say this: when I was younger, just so that your misery, I'll be company. When I was younger, I had asked my great grandma. I said, Granny, because my grandmother's mother, the one that's 90, her mother lived till 1 month short of 101.
Oh, I'd be pissed.
So I said,
I'd come back just to finish out the month.
I said, you have to come back and finish out the month. We were like, what? A month? But I was like, Granny, I said, how did you live so long? And I had asked her that, and looking back, I was like, damn, like, but I wanted to more so know the secret. And her secret was that she said, I laugh and I pretend that I'm 18. She would say 16, 18,
Oh, the glasses
21.
for continuity. We got to the glasses off.
Shit.
He really put glasses
I
on.
did. I said I was gonna put them on so you could not laugh. as hard.
Okay, I'm serious.
No, you can laugh if you want. No, but she said the same thing. She said she laughs all the time. She said I have a heart which, I was raised by a lot of Christians. She said, a merry heart doeth the body good like a medicine. It's in the Bible. Merry heart doeth the body good like a medicine. So she said she laughed. She wanted to have a childlike heart because children just laugh all day.
All day.
And like all these freaking happy hormones are released into our bodies every time we laugh. So
I stay high.
So shout out to your mama, my great grandma, my grandma. You know what I'm saying? And shit, we about to be 100 together.
Hey,
Boom.
I love that. So unserious. I don't know why I got the giggles. I really didn't realize how rude it is to ask a 77-year-old. So why do you think you're not dead? I didn't realize that.
It's the way you said it. It's the way you said it.
And that's how I said it to her too. I was like, Mom, your friends are dead. Like, how does that feel? Like you're the only one. She's like, damn, bitch. Like,
right. She's like, don't remind me.
Yeah, I think I have proven on this show that you could what neurodivergence in Black people looks like, and it's not menacing. It's just often misunderstood.
Yeah.
Because again, the Bill Gates and Elon Musk and all of them who have the exact form of neurodivergence that
and they get away with it.
They get away with it, and then they get billions of dollars from investors from
Let's
it.
make these billions.
I would love that. I was going to ask you this question about emotion, because a lot of people think that you can either be healthy, you could have hoes. Like people think that healthy people don't catch nobody. What do you say? Nice guys finish last. So, do you think, as healthy as you are, that you have had a great love in your life yet? Do you think you've had that soul like stirring transformer? People say we have like 2 or 3 great loves in our lives if we're lucky. Do you think you've had that yet? Ooh, don't get you. I'm not trying to get you in trouble.
You know,
friend.
last time I was here, you had alcohol. And today we got water.
Now we raw dogging it.
It's wellness. I have had loves, but they weren't healthy. So they were transformative, but not necessarily healthy at first. I had to choose to find the healthy out of it. So, no, I haven't had like this, But the good old saying says it's better to have loved than lost than to have never loved at all. So I'm happy that I've loved, and I'm happy for where I'm at. And I can't wait to see where I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought if you had asked me 5 years ago, I would have said yes.
No.
And now I recognize it was just a really, really stubborn ego attachment.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people...
Say that one more time. Stubborn?
Ego attachment.
Ego attachment, okay.
Yeah, I think the reason why a lot of people... Because I had to sit with this, like, why do everybody get so offended when I talk about ego attachment versus love? And then I remember the day that I realized that I had not been loved. I had only had a series of really aggressive ego attachments. And I was like, Blue, if people admit that your definition is sound, they have to admit they haven't been loved. And so they're not...
I feel like Willow.
Right? Like this is red table talk. And so I think the reason why that big argument that happened around me talking about ego attachment versus love is people weren't hearing me giving a clinical objective opinion.
Yeah.
They were hearing me trying to rob them of what they believed to have been love from the past. They thought I was trying to rob them with that definition. And I was like, because it happened to me. I thought I've been engaged twice.
Yeah.
So for me to have been almost married twice, had these long-term relationships, invested so much, lost my house, all these things that happened from love. And then in retrospect, was like, none of that was about love.
But I would also...
I loved them, but I was not in love with them. And it wasn't love that made me stay and do those things.
And or it could have been love, but not healthy love.
It was not.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I'm talking about other people that might be listening because
Yeah.
they might... Because I think a lot of people think that they're in love. And
Sincerely.
and it's their version of love. Because on a scale of 1 to that person's experience, that like on a scale of 1 to Blue, on a scale of 1 to Aaron, 1 to that listener, we all have a different definition of love based off our upbringing, our experiences.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So people really be thinking it's love.
People
so it's
really
powerful
do.
That you said that.
Yeah, and then when they start hearing about ego attachment and that bitch sounds a whole lot more familiar, they're like, ah, shit.
Yeah.
It's I get why I'm triggering, because if you believe me, you have to kind of like reconfigure a bunch of the other math. And it's been kind of interesting to recognize that we're in a profession where we are disruptors. Being healthy is disruptive in a world that commodifies being toxic. There's whole titans of industry. There's whole industries that would cease to exist if everybody actually listened to us.
I was in a car last week. This was about a week ago. I was in a car last week, and I was like, it felt very unhealthy, the conversation. And everyone was being mad toxic. And I was like, do I say something? Do I not say something? And I definitely was a disruptor. And I was like, well, in my experience, and I try to always humble because I never want to be the expert in a friendship conversation. I'm like, well, I just want to say I think differently than everybody here, just to give a different perspective, not to be, like you said, devil's advocate, because I'm not rocking with the devil. But I just feel like just another perspective is that, da-da-da. And people are like, what? And somebody's like, he's he got like a master's degree. He's like, oh, excuse me, in your experiences. I was like, wait, I'm not.
Oh, you about to get the same thing? I'm gonna get fuck Harvard.
Yeah,
People be like, we don't care. You a fucking coach. Fuck Harvard. Fuck Sigmund Freud. Fuck James Baldwin.
Yeah.
People be cussing. I'm like,
people get mad, but that's their ego. And it's men and women with egos, and people just really not able to hear. So I usually try to. I try to ask myself, like, what's the energy of this conversation, the people in the room, before I say something. But yeah, I'm a disruptor at times.
How did you respond when people were like, did hearing what you did calm them down, or just make them say fuck your master's degree?
It worked out.
Oh, it worked out. Okay.
Essentially, it worked out. And I was like, hey, I'm not taking away from your experience. That's very true for you.
Exactly.
I just want to give mine. I'm not saying mine trumps yours. Another perspective that I don't know if you're considering or not is my experience, which is XYZ, do re mi. And they're like, all right, cool. And I'm like, yo, there are people that are like who you're describing. And there's because I hate these conversations about gender, about, women are this and men are that. I'm like, blanket statements are so tricky.
They're deeply flawed.
Extremely.
And this is the thing that I think I'm learning from having this conversation. I recognize why Beyonce doesn't talk to us.
And she just nights. Can I just say she also stays out of everybody's drama. She'll talk to everybody in the room. She ain't picking no sides. She's just gonna chill, mind her business, say hi to everybody, keep moving.
I think despite the podcast, which is a place where I am literally getting, my career is to give opinions. The thing that I've learned in the first 4 months of 2024 is that if you gave somebody a Lamborghini, the first time they'd be excited. By the 10th time, they'd be like, this is the bitch who's always giving out Lamborghinis, right? Everybody jokes that I'm always dropping gems, but I think they stopped being grateful because I'm always dropping gems. And they became dismissive because I'm always dropping gems. Then sometimes they become resentful because I'm always dropping gems. And I'm going to be a lot more discerning with what I drop moving forward.
I think that's the key. Like I said, I don't impose myself. A lot of times when I go out, people will come up to me at like everyday people or whatever the party for the day or the month is, and I'm like, I am off the clock. So I have these very firm boundaries. So hopefully when I do speak, it has more weight.
Exactly.
I purposefully do not speak to people all the time. Also, I want to be just chill. I don't want to always be disruptive personally because I'm like, yo, this is not my battle. You didn't ask me for shit. You didn't ask me for my opinion, and I cost a certain amount an hour. So that's my boundary. It's like, yo, you didn't ask me for nothing. So I'm gonna just keep it moving.
The old saying, familiarity breeds contempt. I'm so happy that we had this conversation. For those of you who are like, Blue, why aren't you, doing readings at parties anymore or, having free therapy sessions at the function?
It's called balance.
Yeah.
And boundaries.
Yeah. A bitch's, the price of admission has gone up.
Period.
The price of admission has gone up. Aaron, please tell people where they can find you.
You can find me in these streets. I'm just kidding. You can find me. You can find me on social media. My name is on Instagram. It's Aaron Bernard. ITSAARON BERNARD on Instagram. The same thing for TikTok. And yeah, that's it for right now. You can DM me, and I do have a website you can find me on too. ArborandYork.com. And hit up Blue. She know how to find me.
And guys, for those of you who've been asking, as of this broadcast, the Own Thy Shift summer workshops are now open for registration. Go to summer24.eventbrite.com, summer24.eventbrite.com. It's one of the few places where I will be dropping gems because it's part of my job. And it is probably the only place that you'll be able to get me to share as intensely as I used to previously. You can find me at BlueCentric. Aaron, thank you so much for coming. You want to say something else before?
One more thing. And if you guys can, if you're in the LA area, soon they'll be showing up on social media, like long form, like YouTube and things of that nature. I do have a brand called What in the Wellness, like what in the world, but what in the wellness. I'd love for you to check that out, support that as well. And thank you so much for having me. I'm sorry.
I'm so happy you have to come back. You guys, as usual, remember, we're all just human beings doing human shit. Please be kind to yourselves. Bye.
Peace.
That was
Thank
so
you.
good.
Appreciate you.
That was so organic.
It was. We just had a friendship conversation.